Good afternoon. I want to say happy Father's Day to all those who are lucky enough to be fathers. I want to say to those who are fathers that go out and spend time with your kids, it is a beautiful day over where I'm at. I hope it's a beautiful day where you're at. Father's Day is about spending time with your kids. And they should know that they love you. They should know that you love them, and they should spend time with you because, they only get one father. One real father, I should say. Now, with that being said, I want to introduce Shadow. We'll soon be joined by Jack. He's being a teenager and doing teenager things. That's okay. We were all teenagers at one point. Maybe not Shadow. He looks like he just was born old. But I could be wrong. Today, we're going to be reviewing...
having an old soul, you...
Today we'll be reviewing the 1980s Dune, which I've been poking fun of all week. I would like to say I enjoyed the book better really quick. I think the book is compared to the 1980s Dune to the 2001 Dune, I think the book beats both. But that's just my opinion. But I had a fun time watching it. I appreciate that Shadow and Jack recommend it. We are actually going to wait for Jack to make his grand appearance before we go into the Dune movie because, well, it was his idea to talk about it. But what we are going to talk about some of the videos that we saw this week, some of the creators out there that we enjoyed watching this week. I made a video yesterday called RPing. Talking about RPGing with veterans. Shadow's made and Sun has made a few videos this week as well. Bruce hit 900 prescribers.
950.
He's at 950 now. Holy crap!
I think it's 950.
Well, wherever it is, if he can just get a few more, he'll be at 1,000. And, he can start making a little bit of money off of this business, which would be great for him. And, he'll give it back to the community of us who hang out with him and have the same kind of thoughts and opinions as he does, hopefully. With that being said, was there anything that really this week that grabbed your attention? I mean, I know next week we got his game.
Yeah, I keep hitting him up. Is it Saturday yet? Yeah. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm slowly working on a couple of games that I will be running. Hopefully, this week you can hook me up with the tutorial so that I can start doing the same sort of thing because I really do want to get some games going before summer rolls over our heads because it's. For the little guy, it's almost over. Not quite technically, but a big enough chunk of it is going to be over by this week. The first month out of 2.5. So I always think like that it's almost over, even though we've got maybe 5 or 6 weeks.
We still got July and most of August. Well, yeah. I don't know. When do you guys as kids go back to school?
I think it's in August.
Okay, here we go back in August. We go back. Oh man, first day of school was normally around my birthday, which was anywhere from the 28th of August to the first of September.
We used to go back when I was a kid. We used to go back actually in September, and I'm not going to go into why they changed it, but it was kind of messed up and unfair for dads.
I'm of an opponent that maybe we should have longer school years.
Maybe. My son's actually going to be doing summer school, I think, next month to get a head start. That's the kind of kid he is. That was his idea. I've never heard of such a thing. An actual teenager saying, hey, I want to get back to school. But then with COVID being what it was, and absolutely ruining the poor kids' lives for as long as it did, I can see how that will be one of the little tiny good things that happened. Kids realized that, hey, this school thing isn't so bad. I'm not going to lie. When I was a school age, youth, I did my fair share of playing hooky, if not more than my fair share, maybe half a dozen kids' fair share of playing hooky. And, you know, for us, it was different, but, you know, they really did grow to appreciate what they were missing from not being able to go to school in person. I know several children that absolutely were overjoyed to be able to go back to school, and that's kind of weird for me to think of, but it's actually really a good thing, and hopefully, you know, it'll you know reverse the old trend of kids trying to play hooky and trying to get out of school, etc. Because you know it is for them a pretty good thing. You almost ready?
Chewy? He needs to not be in here.
Why?
He took a shit on the stairs.
You know we're live.
I know that.
Oh. Okay, apparently my dog had an accident and needs to go away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Your dog's name is Chewy?
Chewy, yeah.
It's a fun name.
Yeah, I didn't name him. I just rescued him with that name, and so we kept it, and it works, you know. When we had to, yeah, it's that warning is gone, James. We don't know. We suspect there's a reason why they did that to our video, and we didn't bother to try to appeal it, but they took it off without telling us why. There was an age restriction on our last craft video, and if any of you guys know our channel, we don't do anything that's age inappropriate. My son's here the whole time, and it's even though we don't mark our videos safe for kids, because occasionally we might say like the word bastards or something like that, never the F word, but we just did that to be safe, on the safe side. And we think it was because we were working with this moss that looks like something that it's not, and I would never have my son play with such a substance, let alone glue it to plastic, because that's a waste. And I think they thought it was literally what we said it wasn't in the video, and they went, "Oh, they must be lying because patriarchy." And so they gave us the age restriction, and everybody had to click the button twice, and it still got 60 some odd views in the first couple of days. So it didn't stop anybody, and a lot of people in the comments section were going, what the hell? This is a Shadow and Sun video. We're a wholesome channel, and suddenly they're telling me they're not. No. We're gonna wait until Jackie's a little bit older before we, go down that road. If we ever do, which we probably won't, because there's no need for that with what we do. Maybe when he goes off to the military and it's just me, and I get grouchy and stuff, I may make different content videos. But as long as he's here at my side and stuff, you can count on us being a family friendly channel. That's probably one of the reasons why I go off when I hang out with Max or Bruce or you, Connell. I'll let my hair down a little, so to speak. But
oh, I get it. Trust me, I'm a whole different person when my daughter's around. James, I'm doing all right. Tired, sleep deprived, but that's nothing new.
Hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Some asshole around where I live was lighting off fireworks last night, and I don't do well with fireworks, so I just didn't sleep well. But other than that, I'm doing fine. Hey, Sean, how are you doing today? I hope you guys enjoyed today's review of said topic. Dune was a good. It was a good movie. The 1980s one was really good. Yeah, it was colorful and fun. But we're waiting for Jack to show up before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of that subject. Right now, we're just basically doing a week catch-up of what was done this week by other people. I want to, like I said, give out a shout to Bruce for hitting 900. Actually, let me look really quick, people. I want to say 900 subscribers to his channel. That is absolutely amazing. He is a good guy, and if anybody deserves the numbers, it's him. Yeah, the 1980s Dune. Not the new Dune, which I kind of like, but maybe I might be alone in that one. Well, when did Dune come out? 1987? I'm not 100% sure. How are you doing, Shauna? Are you doing good today? We're kind of beat up by you last night, man. You're just picking at me left and right. 1980s. Okay. I'll tell you what. I will change the title right now. 1984. 1984. I think I was a year old when that movie came out. Ooh, editing a Skyrim video. You know, I was watching the original Conan today, and I was looking at the Architect, and there were some things in the in the Conan movie kind of remind me of some of the Architect in Skyrim. I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, I'll check. I'll fix the title once the video's over. But yeah, I'm gonna go. But yeah, what was it?
Hey, Connor.
Projectile weapons. Yeah, the humming weapons, the weapons that they're using, or voice controlled, or they use the vibrations from their voice to channel it through the gun. Man, the 80s were just weird. Trying to launch a toy line, that makes sense. Uh-oh, I hear myself.
Yeah, we won't be smoking that moss. That will kill you. I don't even think it's technically moss. I think it's plastic, but it looks like it. Maybe it is. I'd have to check, but whatever. YouTube is asshole.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was a kid, it's just weird. I was never, the idea of smoking any substance that wasn't tobacco just was not anything I wanted anything to do with. I started smoking cigars when I was probably about 18. Yeah, 18. But smoking anything else was just weird to me. I'm not a big drinker, but if I'm going to do anything, I think I'd rather spend my money on beer than pot. But even now with most of across of America, it's made okay, but you got to be responsible with it. But
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I went to college like most of you guys, and there's a time and place for everything, and that time is college. But now, anytime I go to the grocery store or anywhere in public, it's everywhere, and it's not okay because I had a chat with another YouTuber about this a while ago. It's not okay to get my kid a contact high when I'm grocery shopping. If he goes to a party or a concert, that's a different thing. In my opinion, it can be tolerated. And I'm not saying I have anything against people doing it. It's just don't be doing it in the parking lot or right by the door of my grocery stores or somewhere that I have to literally risk popping positive on a whiz quiz. That's really uncool, and trying to explain that to HR that's what happened is not going to fly.
Yeah.
And because I live in California, it's actually less of a big deal than driving drunk, and that's not right either. It shouldn't be so embraced that it's okay for it to be everywhere. that's just my opinion.
I actually had this teacher in college. He was really interesting. He was a prude by every stretch of the imagination. So I want to make this next statement is not because he was a drug hopping alcoholic. He really wasn't. He was very much a prude. But he's like, here's a concept. Let's make everything okay. Let's let people start being responsible for themselves instead of having a government that feels like it's a babysitter.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be paying, increased premiums on my insurance because the whole world decided to start being stupid.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not saying he was right. I'm not saying he was wrong, but it was a very interesting topic to hear while you were in college, I should say.
I've heard that. I've heard that before too, and I've known a lot of people who thought that way for various reasons, and going to prison for doing something is a whole lot different than going to prison for doing something that the government wants to control themselves. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But Bruce's numbers is actually at 962. So if you don't know anybody's already subscribed to already subscribed to Bruce, let's see if we can get him up to 1,000 by the end of this month.
End of this month, it should happen by the end of the week.
Well, that could happen. Maybe. Hell.
Well, I mean, it went up. It went up hundreds in a week because of Baron, Kung Fu. And if I could bribe the guy, I'd do the same thing because I just can't get access to a computer, and my tablet will not support that software in any way, shape, or form. I've tried, and
I should say something really quick about the whole top conversation we were just having. Not to sound like a complete hypocrite, I do have problems sleeping. So I will chew an edible, but I go to bed right after. I don't go driving around. I don't walk the neighborhood. I don't go do anything stupid. I normally crawl into bed, do a countdown of sorts, and I'm off to the races. That's kind of – but it's for sleeping. I don't like taking pills.
Yeah, I don't either. I hate taking the vitamin, but I have to take it.
If it helps me sleep, I'm not going to say I don't do it. So that's really kind of where
But what you're doing is also legal. So, there's that. If it's legal, then, I don't drink either, but I'm not going to say, oh, well, alcohol should be illegal or anything stupid like that.
We tried that once.
Exactly why we need to rethink this whole strategy and go to the root cause of why people go down some of those harsher roads as opposed to, well, you went down that road, you need to be in jail for the rest of your life. That's kind of dumb.
So anyways, what else happened? Bruce did a video with Janet from Another World, or Girl from Another World, whatever her name is.
Janet from Another Planet.
Janet from Another Planet. They reviewed a really cool movie, Enemy of Mine. I haven't seen that movie in probably, 5 years?
What movie?
Enemy of Mine, I think. Dennis Quaid in it.
Enemy of Mine. Yeah. You know what? Come on.
Hey, and there is the sun. Hey, have you told your father Happy Father's Day?
No, it's just another day.
No. It's Father's Day. Mom gets a day.
Well, it's called her birthday. I'm not her dad.
No, but he's your son. Therefore, he should, one time a year say, Happy Father's Day, Dad. I appreciate what you've done for me. I love you. Let's go get some ice cream. Or whatever.
We did. We got ice cream yesterday.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
Vanilla and Rocky Road.
That doesn't. Okay, go buying groceries and getting ice cream does not count as going out to get ice cream.
How about living a little bit on the wild side? Go out and get a root beer float from your local A&W's if you have one near you.
Because I only drink water.
He can get the root beer float, and you can have a glass of water. Meet me halfway, damn it.
No, we have a Hawaiian ice place that we go to.
Ooh, ooh! I heard those places are supposed to be really good. I'm jealous now.
Okay, have you ever had a snow cone?
Yeah.
Okay, well, imagine instead of it being a ball of ice, it's
Yeah.
actual snow. With
that's awesome.
Oh, tell me, we're probably gonna do that tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, actually, because tomorrow we got to go shopping for your mom's birthday.
You're correct.
But yeah, it's the shit. Especially when it starts getting over 100 degrees here, and we'll take a little bike ride, and then oh yeah, it's worth every penny of it. And you know what's funny is this kid here, he'll actually ask them to not put the flavoring on it so that he actually just gets the snow.
See, there's a difference between being raised in a desert environment than being raised in the Midwest. I get snow once a year. I don't want it. You can have my share.
Thank you. That's why I moved to the desert.
Yeah.
There is no share of my snow unless it comes from the Hawaiian ice place.
We get snow once a decade.
Yeah, we've had snow here, and it's nice. You know, it's like the old expression. It's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. I don't want to live in snow. I also don't like heavy rains. I've got books and other things that are highly susceptible to moisture, and I do not want them getting ruined because I wanted to make a snowman once or twice, every couple of years. So I'll stay the hell away from the snow and the heavy rains.
I don't know if I've ever have any interest of going to Burning Man. Shauna brought up the Burning Man in the chat, and I'm like, it looks interesting, but
you know what? It looks interesting. It also looks like a great way for me to feel older than I am. Unless I only come out when it's really late, and people are already, lit up like the fireworks. Because
that or it's a good way to end up with child support.
Well, yeah, maybe you, not me. I'm married and I don't cheat, but yeah. I don't know if I call it close. Hey, speaking of which, Sean, later on you're gonna have to tell me. We were talking about the Star Trek episode, The Gorn, where that famous place that was not only in the Gorn episode, but it was also in the Bill and Ted's movie.
Oh, yeah, the mountain. Yeah. It's
we're supposedly
somewhere.
We're not that far from it, and I want to actually do a video out there from that location if it's possible, and it's not like barricaded off or something like that. Yeah, we could play Road Warrior. Yeah, we've got all the tools for that as well. And I want to see if you can, hook me up with the name and kind of location of that place. And I'm going to take the little guy out there, and we'll, I'll dress up in a lizard man costume, and we'll put him with a Kirk shirt and a bamboo cannon and take some videos.
That sounds amazingly nerdy as hell. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got to see the episode first, and then he'll understand why.
No. Shadow, the look in his eyes is like, Dad, really? Really, Dad?
Absolutely.
And this is why they put me on Rolling as a kid. Anywho, let's get to the topic. All right, the topic of today is the 1980s. Thank you for being corrected by the chat. The Dune. Now, I watched it. I actually just got done watching it a little bit ago, and it was unique to watch a movie from the 80s. Boy, you could tell that movie's from the 80s. The actors in there are so young. We could be any of those actors today, and they look like they're old enough to have their third, fourth grandchild by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't see it until I want to say probably over a decade after it for the first time I saw it. I think it was on like Disney or something. And I actually got to watch it. I'm like, wow, I missed this. And, because I read the first couple of Dune books in let's see, 67. Definitely read them around 1985. I don't know if it was because the movie was out or if it was just where I was at and that I got to read the Dune books. It's it's been a while since I've read. Well, you know what? I only read Dune once, so it's been a long time since I read the first book. And I know there's a few things that aren't canon to the books, and that's always going to be the case. But if I had never read the book and I just watched the movie, it's a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
The intro, I could see how the intro would throw a lot of people off. We watched the extended director's cut, so it was like 2.5 hours, and I could see how those long-winded intros could throw people in. The artwork wasn't spectacular. The oil paintings, that they chose for the artwork. My son here,
right.
he could have painted those pictures better.
No, I couldn't.
You don't
That's
think
a lie.
Really? I think you could if you tried. But it wasn't. I really can't think of anything bad about the movie when it comes to that. If I knew that I'd never read the books and it was just a standalone movie and that was that's all I was ever going to get from it. If I was never going to read any of the other books. And it was, that was the only book, that was the only movie, and that was it. It for its time, it was a pretty damn good movie. It had a lot of, things that you still to this day probably won't see again. Sure, some of the visual choices they made, shapes of the starships, and maybe some of the costumes or something like that might not have been, someone's particular cup of tea, but I really couldn't find any faults with it. Even the choices of actors were great. The only thing I really did there's only one thing I could think that I really didn't like, and that was the eyebrows.
Oh God, the eyebrows.
That was really it.
That was it.
That's it. That's the only thing I didn't like. I think they just went a little too far with that.
I also think it was weird that everyone was bald. No, not that they were bald. All their hair was just pulled back as far as it could possibly be.
Are you saying that's not where I get it from?
I was not implying that, but you may be correct.
Because I do that. You guys know that. That's about the only thing I could think of that I didn't like. I like the costumes. I like the uniforms.
I really like those ones.
There were a couple of the starship designs I thought were a little too simplistic. The cylinder and things like that were, they could have done better. But
I also didn't really like how all the ships had just 2 holes in them. That didn't make any sense to me. Not only is it poor design, but it just doesn't look right either.
Which ships? The big cylinders?
No, pretty much all of them. Whenever you see an interior shot of a ship, it has these 2 bubbles to look out of.
Oh, you mean like in the harvester thing?
Yes.
Yeah, they had those 2 weird windows that kind of reminded me of Night Owl's mask from the Watchmen.
Yeah, those eyebrows on the Mentalist. There was a few other people. No, really, it was just him with those eyebrows that just went. I mean, they were all the way up. Those were terrifying. I almost wanted them to name them Bert and Ernie because they look like small little Muppets on that guy's face, on both those guys' faces. Yeah, Kermit and the other guy. Yeah, actually, I had a couple issues. I think I have more issues than you guys do. The spaceships, I think I've seen enough science fiction movies from that area where all the spaceships were just weird kind of looking, they were just all just kind of, no, that doesn't kind of work spaceships from that era of movies. There was a few movies that did it really well, like the original Alien. I did it right. Star Wars and Star Trek did it right. But there's also a lot of them that just really didn't do it right. And the Dune movie was one of them. I think The Traveler was just fucking weird as hell.
Spice Navigator.
Yeah, so they don't move. I get that they use the spice to transport. They've been space. I get that one, which but is the bending coming out of its mouth and its ass? Because if you watch it, it looks like it stands right in the middle, and it was just weird. I saw it earlier today, and it just like, wait, it's coming out two different holes, and it has this like weird little triangle mouth. And
yeah, that was kind of creepy. Yeah, I think.
I don't know if this is a David Lynch design. If this is a David Lynch design, this man needs to see a therapist. Because what the fuck? Excuse my language.
If he's still alive. If he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's God, I don't know how old he is, but he's still alive. Hold on, let me look. David Lynch.
Oh, because it's Spy Six Ten's life.
What?
Nothing.
Is he still alive? Yes, he is still alive. He is 76 years old. Wow, 76. So that was an issue. I think the actor who played Paul was too old. Because in the books, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the books, Paul should be a teenager.
I think so. I think so.
The actor, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the actor, but the actor himself looked like he was in his middle 20s or mid 20s.
I think so.
If not a little bit older.
Maybe hitting early 30s. I mean,
that could be an issue. Yeah.
I thought that was wrong. I thought like I said, I thought he should have been played by a younger actor. I think that's why I like the newest one. It just came out better because it was actually played by a kid who actually looks the appropriate age. What was the other stuff? The force fields.
Oh,
they were
weird.
I know that they were tied down to the physical effects of their age, of that era. I get that. Hey, I'm a big He-Man Master of the Universe fan, and I love the movie. And the graphics to that just make my head hurt. I get it. I understand the era of the movie when the movie was made. I get it. But you could have done things around instead of having what was that animated show I used to watch? Spike. It was made out of Play-Doh. The guy was a character.
Gumby? Oh no, Mr. Bill.
Yeah, no, Gumby. You're right, Gumby. The force field made me think of Mr. Gumby. And his friends. That's just the way I took from it. It was just like, what the fuck. I had no problem with the acting. I thought the actors did a really great job of the roles they were given. The main Baron guy, Jesus, he is like, that guy is a nightmare fuel for kids.
As he should be.
Yeah, he's a nightmare fuel for me. The whole floating, orange-headed pedophile that he was. That's scary. That was absolutely.
I think the heart plug thing was a little creepier, but yeah.
I don't remember that in the book. Was that thing in the book?
I don't remember at all, but that whole, arousal from that whole sort of thing is just nauseating.
Towards the end of the movie, where was it Sting's character? Oh God, Sting. We'll get to Sting here in a second. But Sting's character had a little dagger that popped out of his thigh.
Yeah,
that was to keep his uncle off of him.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but oh my God. So I got issues. I got issues with some of this. What was some of the other things? I didn't exactly. I don't. Okay. The worms were kind of cool, I have to admit. I mean, for the simplistic way that they made the worms, I thought that was cool. I did not exactly enjoy the music, the soundtrack to it. I know a lot of people do, but I don't need to hear Top Gun, the music to Top Gun when they get on top of the worm. That was just dumb. I didn't appreciate that.
I think that we might have felt differently if we were in the theater. In the 80s, in the theater. Sitting in the theater with the air conditioner blasting and that music coming out, and the worm scene for the first time, I think that would have felt better. It did remind me. The music did remind me a lot of the Flash Gordon soundtrack.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what was irritating about it.
And I'm not a huge fan of that band either, but I get it. That's what. Yeah, not a fan.
How can you not like Freddie Mercury? He made some of the best songs of the era. We Will Rock You. We Are the Champions. Okay, I can think
because there were other people in that band as well, and you never hear about them ever. And
yes,
I realize he could play musical instruments, etc. But if throughout his entire musical career had done everything by himself, that would have been different. But there are other people, just like with music of today. These people are, super famous. They've got 47 people on stage with them. You never know their names, and yet they're doing all of the actual heavy lifting, in my opinion.
I will not fault you that. I completely agree.
If you can't, if you're the lead guitarist or something like that in a band and you never get any recognition and it's always the front guy, that's wrong.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've always been a big fan of The Who. Granted, I think the lead guitarist is absolutely fucking brilliant. Well, he is. He's got 2 degrees, 2 doctorates in I can't think what they are, but I know he has
Pete
2.
Townsend?
What?
Pete Townsend?
The guy with the poofy curly hair that looks, one. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of the other guys.
But he was the lead guitarist. The one I'm talking about is the lead guitarist. I don't know. I liked them, but that's besides the point. But yeah, the music did kind of feel like the Queens might have had something to do with, especially when they were.
No, it was actually a band called Toto, and they were pretty big too back in the day. I think they did
Africa.
Africa. Thank you.
Africa. That's why there's no vampires there, because all the rain is been blessed. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But it just had that typical 80s sound and feel to it, and
which I don't mind. I don't mind the 80s theme music for 80s movies, but this doesn't. Okay, I'm not a director. I'll never be a director. But if I'm doing Dune the movie, he wants to be a director. Okay, that'd be awesome. I'd watch anything that you make. But if I was doing a sci-fi movie that's based out in space, I would
find
something that you can't just hear on your radio when you turn it on. I'd find I would get a conductor that actually knows his way around music. Not saying that Toto does not know their way around music, but I would get like John Williams, who did Star Wars and a handful of other movies, who put together these really magnificent musical pieces that are out fucking standing for the movies that they were made. If I'm coming off too preachy, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
No. Don't. It could have been done differently, but He
was a strange guy. You're right.
It wasn't
Sean. He was. Lynch was a weird guy. I've seen some of his other stuff, and he's just Twin Peaks. Have either one of you guys seen that Twin Peaks?
No, I haven't. It's on my list of things to get through. I think it's on Netflix, but every time I think about watching Netflix, I then think again and don't. So who knows when that'll happen? I don't really watch a lot of anything.
Maybe I'll just buy the series for you and just send it to you, so you won't hold it against Netflix.
I don't really watch a lot of TV. Is my point.
That's fair. That's fine.
I'm on YouTube, all day long. There's always something.
What else did I like the spice. I like the little beetle-looking ship that they had on the ground to collect spice.
That was kind of cool.
I like that. That was a great design.
Well, I don't know if it was aesthetically absolutely a great design. Whether it would actually be the way to go, I think you'd be more inclined to use treads and tracks than those gigantic wheel-looking things. from a physical standpoint. But it was absolutely a memorable vehicle. The things that carried them, the carryalls, those were actually kind of interesting too.
I like those.
I like the bodysuits. I thought the bodysuits were interesting.
The what?
The bodysuits?
The still suits, yeah.
I thought those were interesting.
It's a little gross when you think about it, but at the same time, if the only thing I didn't think was appropriate was how dark they were, because I think that would just add to the fact that you would be sweating and sweating and sweating wearing that solid rubber suit. I don't care what they line it with; it's going to be nasty when you take that thing off.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep you alive, absolutely. I just think it should have been, more of a reflective color so that it would, keep some of the heat off you. Considering it had absolutely no head protection, and wearing a dark black, brownish, whatever color suit that technically was in the desert.
Black. That was raven black.
At high noon in the desert on a planet with two suns, that could literally actually get you killed.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason why people wear white out in the desert.
I was going to say that. Yeah. I was going to say, if they would have done in that one what they did in the 2020 Dune, where the suits were actually white, that would have been made a whole lot more sense.
I think they probably actually filmed in the desert and figured it out that, hey, our actors are passing out every 8 minutes in these suits. Let's spray paint them white because.
Let's make them out. How about we will make the hard pieces look hard and the rest of the outfit be linen, because linen breathes the best when you're dealing with desert. What do I know? I will never be director. I'll leave all these decisions up to you, Jack.
And the thought of carrying around your feces in a pocket in your suit was also pretty nasty. I get the urine and the sweat, and you can filter it and turn it into a
that's
quote unquote drinkable liquid for emergencies, but at some point you're going to have to dump that feces pocket out.
Why do they even have that?
Because it's basically a completely enclosed suit, so that when you poop, you don't just have to open up a flap and drop a deuce. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not really think about that. Thanks for bringing that into the realm of my thought processing. Where's my alcohol? What's the other thing?
Sorry.
Yeah, TMI, very much so. Have you guys seen the new Dune movie?
But it's there. No, I have not. I saw part of the sci-fi multi-part special back in the 90s or early 2000s. I didn't really care for it much. It was, back then when I was trying to watch it, I didn't know who anybody was. And because I didn't know the actors, I couldn't easily place who was playing who. And when it comes to people like Duncan Idaho and who's the other guy I'm forgetting?
Well, they had... Are you talking about the TV series or the movie?
I'm pretty sure it was a TV series. I couldn't place the actors with the characters very well, and after I think about 2 hours, I was completely confused who anybody was, and I just couldn't make the connections as easily as I could with the 80s version, so I just stopped watching it. I know that it looked good, with the backgrounds and the scenery and everything like that. Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna take this. Go ahead.
All right. Who's that?
That's definitely a ringtone you won't forget or miss. Not miss.
That was originally my mom's phone, so she put that ringtone. But then, because he didn't want a phone at all, he refused to have one. In fact, he refused so much that one time we were stuck outside of Target for an hour. Simply because of that.
Your dad's stubborn in his ways, but he means well.
Yeah.
So you've just watched the old one. You haven't watched the new one either.
Yeah.
I didn't like the pacing of the old one. I thought the pacing was bad. They just. I thought the book is big. The book
Yeah.
is a book. It's a big book, and I get that. And they're trying to fit the entire movie into entire book in one movie, the best of what they had. But I thought I didn't enjoy the second half of the movie. I thought was just rushed. There's a lot of meat that was still left on the bone. They just completely ignored. And I didn't.
There were a few things that were definitely rushed for the sake of
mainly the whole. I mean, the beginning half was. The beginning, this isn't accurate, but it almost felt like the beginning half wasn't too slow, but it was all right. It's a bit slower, but it's the beginning, so that's expected. But then once you get to the ending bit, and once he's met all these other new people, it just kind of goes too fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a little slow, then a little rushed. Yeah. And if they would have paced it just a little bit better, maybe a few less scenes of Caladan in the beginning because nobody cares. Even though I'd rather live there than Dune.
I think both planets should have been recognized a little bit better for what they were, because you grew up on a planet that has water, has an ocean. Then because of the CEO, Lord Asshat and his golden throne is moving your family to a planet to take over the spice trade, which has no water whatsoever. It is a desert planet. I think both planets need a little bit more time on screen so you fully get what was about ready to happen.
We're not going to mention the pugs?
The what?
The pug. Or the pugs.
Oh, the dogs?
Yeah. I just thought that was just the most weird choice of the household pet of House Atreides. It just seemed so weird.
No. After the guy gets the heart plug that was originally was part of the house that got slaughtered. The guy's like, no, it's okay. Now you get the cat that has a rat duct tape to it, and you must milk the cat every day to get what the actual hell is going on? There was no lead up. All you do is see this fat floating guy with Spike with his weird ass looking contraption, pork with a cat and a rat tied together, and it's like there's no lead up. It's just okay. So I just have to buy this because why? Come on, people.
Yeah. I feel like there might have been a few drugs involved.
More than just a few.
At least.
The whole what did Cherry say? The whole going to Dune.
Sorry about the phone, but it was actually kind of important. Family member the only family member I have left, and I don't talk to that person very often.
I get it. The whole going
otherwise,
to
I don't.
Spice.
I told him about that.
No, that's cool. I understand. Now, Spice. I kind of understood what it was. But not really. Was Spice like sand particles that you got high on and let you live longer and fold space? What was Spice? It didn't actually. That was the other thing.
Yeah,
it was a multitude of things.
They didn't really get into. They didn't really actually get into what it was. Oh, according to Craft,
it was something
worm shit. Gotcha.
Basically, it's something that's produced by the worms, and it gets into the air and everywhere else, and it has a multitude of effects on humans, at least, because there are no aliens. And it has all those magical effects.
See, that's the problem with this. I think that was the main problem I had with the pacing of the movie. There's all these great things that the book has. And I'm not trying to be mean towards the movie, but when you have a book like this, you need to do the Lord of the Rings type there. You need to break it up into a trilogy and filming it that way. So each part of the book has enough time to spread out, to get more information on it. And
one.
It was, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too needy. Not too needy.
No. They had to squeeze one of the largest books, into a movie length film. That.
Yeah.
It's massive. The book is, I think it's 700 pages or something like that for the original Dune, and they had to squeeze a lot into it. It would have been better had they been able to make it 2 parts.
Well, that's
but back then that was not going to happen.
I don't know how I'd be able to talk you guys into it, but I really would like for you guys to watch the new Dunes movie.
I'd be fine with watching it.
Say that again?
I'd be fine with watching it.
I think you guys would enjoy it. I think you. See, the problem I'm having is this: I remember watching the old Dunes movie back when I was a kid, because it was something you did as a kid, right along with Conan and a few other movies back in the day. But I don't really remember it all that well because it never grabbed my freaking interest. Now, I know, Cherry, I did read the book. I did read the Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings. I did read Dune years ago. I'm going to go back and reread it. It's on a list. But
it's been almost 40 years since I read the book. So
the new one, the new Dune movie. I'm not saying the new one and the old one are almost scene by scene on certain areas, but they really, really were. I mean, but the pacing was right on it. The costumes were right. I'm just, when you guys got a free moment, I'm going to ask you here maybe in a couple weeks that we'll circle back to this topic and you guys review the new Dune. Then we'll circle back. We don't have to do it next week or the week after, but here soon. I think that would be a fun conversation, just comparing the two.
I think it's at least fair that we do so.
Yeah.
I may not enjoy a second of it, but I think it's fair. But I
all know this man's weird.
But I had the same exact feeling right now I have when I was thinking about watching the new Clash of the Titans. So having been proven roughly wrong once, I'm willing to go into it again.
That new Clash of the Titans movie, I'm still trying to wrap my head around
yeah, it had moments worth the price of admission. Fortunately, the price of admission was about the same price as buying the DVD, so I'm okay with that. With the newer movie,
which you never watched,
right? Which I'm pretty sure the newer movie isn't out on DVD yet, or
it's out. It's out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah, right. I think it's out. It's been out for almost a year now.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay.
Didn't know that.
Oh man, I don't know if we. But what else was it? And then, what else was the weird things I just found that was kind of weird about the movie?
The bug juice.
I just overlooked that one. I was like, okay, that's just weird and whatever.
When Raban, he had this little box.
Yeah.
There was a little creature in it, and it squeezed the thing, and that's where you got the juice from.
I did not like that.
That was
that was so weird.
That was so weird.
Yeah, there was nothing about that I liked.
That was just really, really. It wasn't necessary, but yes, it gave you a glimpse into Raban's character. But I think the fact that he was, chewing with his mouth open while his creepy uncle was, practically giving him a kiss in that one scene, that was all I needed to know. He was an oafish lout that was there for a purpose, and he reminded me a lot of my actual brother, so I could deal with it very easily, and you needed a contrast between him and Sting, and that summed it up rather nicely. They're both terrible individuals.
You had a physical difference between Jack Sprite and his fat, ugly cousin, brother, who the hell he was. Yeah, they're both redheaded, but one's the size of Jack freaking Sprite, and the other one's the size of a freaking, minivan. There's your there's your difference for you.
Yeah. No, I meant in overall, mentality and demeanor and everything else, not just the physical size, because, they could be, completely different moral characters, but clearly neither of them had any morals or character. They were
they had characters. Unfortunately, they're the not the kind you want to be around.
Right. Yeah. That's certain.
Now, I think it's funny, and I see this sometimes in books, but a lot of times in TV and movies, as the bad guy, the brains of the operation will have two lackeys. No, we'll have a lot of lackeys, but he has two main lackeys, and it's always one fat oafish guy and one skinny guy. Have you guys ever noticed that in TV shows?
Occasionally, yeah. Certainly.
I thought it was weird, but I have to say, I don't think any of the actors did a horrible show on it. I think David, the guy who played Duncan Idaho, deserved more time on screen.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think his death scene was horrible. I mean, not horrible like it made me sad. Like horrible is like, really? You're going to do Duncan Idaho like that?
Right, especially considering how often he comes back in the other books. There needed to be more of him.
Yeah.
Because there could have technically been a sequel. They could have done, the next books had it done better, or someone wanted to actually do that, because, now they're going to do that because apparently nobody in Hollywood has had an original idea in the last 30 years.
Well, there was a long stigma. There was a very long stigma when it comes to movies that sequels always suck.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not so much the case anymore.
Yeah, there's not really. I mean, especially with all these expanded universe things that everyone's trying to do.
Actually, I used to joke. Not used to. I still kind of make the joke. Now, spice is a drug that makes you do things and live longer and all that. Is this the same spice that's a drug in Star Wars, or is this a combined universe that no one's ever will put together?
I'm not sure what you're talking about in the context of Star Wars.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yes.
In Star Wars, there is this drug out on the market called spice. And it is something it's kind of described the same way spices in Dune. I'm being a smart ass when I'm saying this, but it's just like, is this a combined universe type thing that no one actually put together? Is this one of those weird movie theories I'm coming out with? And multi-gunman, I am doing good, a little bit sleep deprived, but it seems to be the status quo anymore. Yeah, no, John, he took a slow motion bolt straight to the forehead in the 1980s Dune. What else? Yeah. Let's see. I thought the worms were cool. I mean, for what the era the movie was made, I thought the worms were really well done. Is there anybody in that role other than Duncan Idaho that you thought she got more screen time? Or better yet, got too much screen time?
I think the original Fremen Reverend Mother, maybe.
Oh, that one.
She seemed kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That there could have been a little bit more time for her, but
his younger sister, I would like to know more about that one. Paul's younger sister. I mean, she basically she was born. You don't even see her being born.
Yeah, she exists now. She walks up to the thing, and she leaves.
Yeah.
She was a tragic character, I know, from the books, later on after this book, she becomes a very, very tragic character. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who already actually knows, because we all probably do, except this guy. But she was kind of creepy. The little girl.
Everything about that little girl was creepy. I mean, I don't know. I think she deserves more screen time. At least that character, even her waddling at her mom's breast, should have got 3 lines saying this one will be more than any other one in our history of the sisterhood. Between the spice and her natural abilities, she will be one of the strongest. I mean, just a little bit of wordage would have done well with this character.
Yeah, she was definitely.
Of the 3 scenes, the 2 scenes you really see her in, when Paul is drinking the juju juice and becoming God.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's taking the juju juice. Now I have bloody noses and we might die, but I don't know because it affects everybody of that sisterhood.
They definitely rushed the latter half of the movie.
Certainly.
When it came to a lot of things like that.
Yeah, and
there was so much explanation that could have been done. 10 minutes worth of explanation would have made the movie a lot better. Just a sentence here, a sentence there wouldn't have taken but 10 minutes, and they could have cut out, the bug juice and the heart plug, and I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's right, Sean. She did actually, not Sean. Chair. She had all the knowledge and memory of all the women of her bloodline. That is awesome. I get that, and I know it was said in the movie, but the problem I'm having with that is character building.
Right, Don.
If she has all the memories and all the knowledge of the sisters before her, it should be something she grows into, not something she has at 5 years old with the glowy blue eyes.
I think at the very least, the physicality of actually growing from infant to being able to walk should have taken roughly the same amount of time.
Yeah.
But and they did fast forward through a few years of the jihad and destroying the spice production, and that was a nice way to save a lot of time, I guess.
I don't know.
You could have dragged that sort of stuff on for an entire movie, to be honest.
No, I'm not saying they should have spent a whole. I'm not saying it should be a movie's worth, but there should at least been a few scenes where the oaf should be walking back and forth, threatening to kill people, sweating a little bit, because he's getting he's finally getting what's coming to him, and we bypass that. We completely bypassing one of the bad guys getting what's coming to him.
Yes. The whole movie should have, probably been 2 movies.
Yeah.
But it just they couldn't swing it, which is really weird because of the success of all the books. Because at that time, I think there were 5 books. When Dune came out, there were 5 books in the series.
Yeah.
There was
Dune, Children of Dune. Yeah. Dune. Yeah.
And at the very least, there was 4, I think, at the time. I think I only have the first 5 books, and I only made it through the first 3 because well, we don't need to talk about that. But
I don't know who would do it, and I don't know if there is a studio out there who. I think Universal would do it. I don't know. I'm kind of losing faith in most of the studios as of right now. I have my favorites, but that's that's an argument for me and Chad to have at a later date. But I think I would do this. I have this argument when it comes to Highlander. Jack, I'm pretty sure you haven't seen Highlander. You're just a tad bit too young for that movie, in my opinion.
Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery, not too young.
I wouldn't let my daughter watch it until she's like 16.
He saw the stream yesterday.
Yeah, well, That's my opinion. My opinion. I could be wrong. You know, I have a daughter. I'm a little bit more protective. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Highlander movie should have been done this way, and there's a reason why I'm saying this, and I'll get to it here in a second. Highlander, you watch the first Highlander movie, you skip the second one and the third one.
My favorite.
You just don't watch the second one or the third one. They do not exist. You watch the first one, then you watch the TV series. Then you watch the in-game. Then you're done. That is the Highlander series. There's no weird, what the fuck was the last director thinking about? This doesn't, timelines and concepts don't match up. Watching it this way, movie, TV series, in-game, everything makes sense. And you're good. That's just it. You're good. Now with Dune, this is how I would do Dune if I was anybody, a producer or a director or a producer. All right, yeah. I'd find a TV network that I can deal with. It being a USA, AM, A&E, not A&E, AMW, whatever. Pick your movie, TV series. Yeah, Cherry, I get where you're going with that one, but anyways, so you do the first movie as a the first book as a 3-part movie, so you get the entirety of the whole story. Then each book, if done right, you do it as a mini series, as a TV series, so all the characters get to be fleshed out a little bit better than they would be in the movie. That's how I would do it.
And especially nowadays where just movies, they're either part of a bigger thing or they're shorter stories, because if people want to tell a longer story, they do it in a show. And shows nowadays are usually only 10 episodes or less.
Right.
Because most shows nowadays are just really long movies, and that's it.
Well, that's because I was watching a thing where the writers versus Hollywood. It was basically what the show was called. You had all these great writers back in the day for movies. Well, they write a script, then they hand it off to the director and the producer and the actors. The actors.
I'll be right back. Hold on. Hold on. Just go on without me. Okay.
The actors, the producers, and the directors looks at the script and tears it apart and do what they basically want to do. With story. So the writers are said basically, screw this. We'll go to TV land where we can actually write, and our product will actually be done well. And that's why there for a while TV shows were actually doing better than movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the right answer really is when it comes to Dune. Should you watch the 1980s movie Dune? Yes. I think everybody should at least watch it once.
Yeah.
Should you go out and read the books? Absolutely. I think they're a great series.
Yeah.
Can this movie be done better? Yes. Does it deserve to be done better? Hell yes.
Yes.
I'm hoping the 1920s Dune sequel to the first, they already made one. The sequel is supposed to be coming out here with the next 2 years. Does what I think that it should do, because it so far has been doing. The first part takes its time. The movie takes its time, and I appreciate that.
Is the first movie just book one, or is it half of it? Or
half of book one.
Okay.
He gets to the Sand People.
And
that's movie one.
That seems like a decent place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might be slightly wrong, but yeah, that's right when he gets to the Sand People. That's when they stop the movie, which is a natural collusion to the first movie. They don't,
That makes sense.
Yeah. So what have you been doing this week?
Not much. I've been thinking about certain things. I've been wanting. There's three big things I want to do right now. One of them is much smaller than the others. The other is much smaller than the final one. And the final one is something that I've been wanting to make for like 7 years, I think. But it's only ever been something that I think is actually anything of quality for about 4 months. So that's
Gotcha.
mainly
I
what
get that.
but I mainly bad ideas.
They need to. What did Shauna say? They need
to erase gender swap Alia.
I don't. I don't. Certain characters, if the actor or the actress could play the character correctly, the gender should not matter. It is about the character of the character, not the gender of said character, that should matter. Should matter. If
Depending
it is
on the role, there are certain cases where it might be important, but there are others where it doesn't really matter.
If it's a fictional character, if it's not a historical character, but a fictional character, whatever, it's always kind of in my head, whatever.
Yeah, I do think.
Go for it.
I do think that gender swapping a character, I think race swapping a character, I don't see the point, I also don't see the point in it being that bad. I mean, if someone auditions and they do really good, and they do really good, but they happen to not be the race of the character, then I don't see a problem with hiring them. I think gender swapping a character is a lot more important, or it's a much more of a bigger deal to me. Whether I think it's awful, no, I don't. But at the same time, I mean, gender is much more significant than race. So depending on the character and what they do, if you have a character and there are certain things that are essential to them, and it would just not really make sense if you change things like that. But there are other scenarios where I don't think it's that important. And This is also very different from a historical thing, because if you're making a movie or a show about a historical figure, even a mythological figure, that's different. But that's my main opinion when it comes to that.
No, I agree. I think when it comes to historical character, okay. Oh, I know he's talking about they need to swap out. He's being a smartass. Now I'm understanding. The character he's talking about, I had to look up, is Paul's younger sister. So you want Paul's younger sister to be Paul's younger brother there, Shauner?
I get it.
Hey, all right, it took me a while.
I like how we went on this big thing on the importance of this sort of thing, just to... Good job.
Yeah, it's a good thing I have Wikipedia up here with the character's name on it. Yep. Well, I actually have to give your dad fair warning, though. His least favorite actor plays Duncan Idaho in the new Dune movie.
He knows how much I can't stand that actor.
Which actor are you talking about?
Jason Momoa.
But hear me out. Jason Momoa plays physical characters fairly well.
Everything I've ever seen him in, it seems that he's playing the same character over and over and over again.
So is the guy who played a Paul. That guy only knows one character to play, and they're all fucking weird.
I'd have to go watch Twin Peaks because I've seen a few episodes of Twin Peaks, and I didn't get that.
It's a weird ass show, but this is also a religious.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that feeling that he was playing the same character. There are many actors that are like that, but
Jason Momoa knows that his bread and butter is to play physical characters.
That's fine, and I'm sure there's a lot of John Wayne, same thing.
Oh yeah, John Wayne. Yeah,
and the guy who's playing Deadpool, the same thing.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he only has one character he can play,
and that's probably though.
That's sometimes you're paying more for the actor than the acting.
It doesn't hurt, at least with the Deadpool movies. Was they've actually in the comic books they've started leaning towards, before he started making the movies, started leaning towards more of a Ryan Reynolds personality.
Well, I think that's why they picked that actor, probably. Which is fine.
Patrick Swayze, not Patrick Swayze. Patrick Stewart. I always get the two mixed up as the name.
He's always playing the same character.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart made a great Jean-Luc Picard. He made a great Professor X. Well, then wait, a thin, bald-headed white guy in a wheelchair. Although that's not, that wouldn't be that hard to cast.
It's actually a mocha frap.
No, it's what it is it's ground. It's not even ground. It's ice with something poured on it.
Coffee and chocolate milk. Yeah, it's a mocha frap, but
I don't know what it is.
Made improperly, because I'm an expert. I used to drink a blender full of mocha fraps every single day, and that's why I don't drink coffee anymore, because it finally.
I do drink. I'm more of a tea guy. I grew up drinking tea in the morning, but when I do drink coffee here lately, it's either been Death Wish.
That's pretty funny, Sean. I'm still laughing.
Which one?
I drink your milkshake.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's Sean.
Yep.
But yeah, Sean Cherry, you're right. The kid who plays Paul in the new one actually looks like he's young enough to be Paul in the book. Age thing, gender swapping doesn't really bother me, but age swapping does.
That's
my line.
I have a much bigger problem with gender swapping, because that's part of an agenda designed to replace men with
They've been doing gender swapping in theater forever and a day. They've been doing it since Shakespeare's era.
It's different when they didn't allow women to be on stage for cultural reasons or whatever, than to turn a beloved character that was male or female into the exact opposite to appease a portion of the public that think they're not getting enough representation, when if they wanted more representation, all they had to do was buy some imagination and actually use it the way imagination is meant to be used, to be original, or at least try to be original. I understand that being original is very difficult with the way the world is.
You can't tell people to be original. When every time I ask you about things relating to originality, he tells me, don't even bother trying to be original because it's impossible.
It kind of is. We've come so far with literature and fiction and fantasy that apparently they can't come up with new movies, but they can rehash old movies and somehow, turn them into, blockbusters.
That wasn't really the point I was trying to make. But
it is hard to be original. I get that. But there are tons of original things out there that have yet to be touched. There's never been an Amber series. There's never been an Elric series. There's never been.
But has there been anything close to an Amber series? You say Dresden Files is a close.
I mean, on the big screen.
On the big screen, okay. I have to read it. I unfortunately
there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of books out there that are incredibly original that have yet to be touched.
Yeah,
and yet they keep going back to the really big ones. Well, Tolkien. It's going to be 15 years, and they're going to make a whole new Lord of the Rings. 10 years, there'll be a whole new Star Wars. Well, lo and behold, they're doing Babylon 5 and Firefly all over again.
I'd be okay if there's a brand new Star Wars, because the last 3 movies sucked. I'm okay if they retry that one. It's like, well, no, for one of my favorite movies growing up was the 1990 something, The Crow with Brandon Lee.
That was a good movie. Don't. They'll now it's out there in the ether. Someone's going to try to remake The Crow, and it'll suck.
But they didn't even make it.
It'll be played by some goth chick.
No. Well, that's the funny. Wait, hold on. Hold on there, Shadow. Now, here's the thing. The 1990s Crow was even film correct to material.
I know. I actually have the comic somewhere.
So if they did a reboot of it with a character, now the Crow being an avatar, it could be male or female because in the comics it did both.
Now you just ruined it. Now they're going to do exactly what I said. They're going to bring some goth,
Actually, they are refilming it. They are actually. It's in the works right now. And don't worry, Eric Draven is being played by a guy.
A straight guy?
He's an actor. Your guess is as good as mine. I think everybody in Hollywood is mildly
because the original character was he liked the women, so or at least one of them,
the guy who what's the most recent thing he did? The guy who played the clown off of It, Pennywise. He is. No, they were supposed to do a Jason Momoa, the Crow, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't. I mean, there's a part of me that would love to have seen that because his physical attributes would have done well with that character. But I'm glad that they didn't. Because Brandon Lee was no slouch. He was a martial artist, maybe not on the same caliber as his dad, but he would still beat most people's asses 3 days out of 4. So when you're playing that type of character, it's like with Paul, I want Paul not to be played by a kid, but I don't want Paul to be played by a fucking adult though either. I want there to be a happy medium.
Which would be his actual age?
Yes. The Crow has to be a athletic person. It can't be
25 years old.
About 25 years old. And that's as long as they keep to the bare minimum, I'm fine with most things. Keep messing up my comic book movies, and I'm going to make a Passion of Christ, but I'm going to film it with all midgets. I swear to God, I will find a way to do this. And I might have to go to church after that statement.
You too.
Well, it depends. If it's filmed along the lines of The Wizard of Oz, then yes, and that might not be enough. But if you do it without any slapstick,
the wonderful kingdom of God.
If you do it,
got you, Jack. I almost got you.
You did. You did.
Yeah, the Crow movie was I can't actually say anything really bad about it. In relation to the comic.
Every person who died in that movie, except for Shelley, had it freaking common.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just picture the next version looking like it was what the hell was his name? Who did Edward Scissorhands and
Johnny Depp?
No. Who made the movie?
Tim Burton.
I just picture it being more like that.
Tim Burton needs to be kicked out of Hollywood, and here's why. Batman.
Really? All you have to do is say Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and you got me on board.
Unfortunately, his version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was more close to the actual book than the original one. But I'm right there with you. I like Johnny Depp. Don't get me wrong. I like Johnny Depp movies. He's done really good movies that are outside of the Pirates of the Caribbean that I really enjoyed. The Secret Window, Benny and June.
Ninth Gate.
What?
Was it The Ninth Gate? Is that what it was called?
Ninth Gate, yeah. The Ninth Gate, Chocolate, which is a romantic one that he does a really good character. He's a really good actor, and I have nothing bad to say about him. but the version of Willy Wonka that he played off, he modeled after Michael Jackson. I don't want a character who's modeled after Michael Jackson to be around kids. It's weird to me. You should not do that. Don't do that, Hollywood. So with that
I don't think any character should be modeled after Michael Jackson, even Michael Jackson.
The only person needs to be modeled after Michael Jackson was kind of cool. Jackson, and he's dead.
But yeah, up until his Off the Wall album, I had no problems with Michael Jackson. Then suddenly he wanted to become a white woman, and it was all over.
The whiteness wasn't exactly his fault, but everything else was just weird.
Yeah,
because he did have a skin issue that turned his skin white. So
what do we think of Dune? What's that?
Get back on topic. Get back on topic, people. I think Dune was a good movie of its era. I think Dune has a lot of good things in it and a lot of flaws.
I wouldn't say it was a good movie of its era. I'd say that, I mean, I don't like looking at movies like back then it was good, but now it isn't good anymore. I think it was a good movie and still is a good movie, but it was rushed. Especially when you got
because of that movie. I'm gonna have nightmares because of that movie. Mainly because of The Traveler, because what the actual fuck.
Yeah, the spice, the navigators were just really, really weird. I would like to try and find some artwork prior to the movie to see how they were depicted, because as far as I know, Herbert had some part in the making of the movie or some okaying of the imagery. And if he was okay with the way they looked, then I really, can't say anything. You know what I mean? If Frank Herbert said, you know what, that's exactly what I was picturing, then the discussion is over, in my opinion.
I disagree.
But if he said, okay, I guess we'll do that because, you sunk so much of my money into it or whatever, don't worry about it, Kai. We're glad you're here. They were just weird. They were creepy as hell. And, how much spice you would have to consume to go from human to that is absolutely mind-boggling, with what it would take.
Probably the amount that a single worm produces throughout its entire lifespan.
Though that was a couple generations. That was a couple generations of spatial inbreeding to get that. I don't know. But I'm going to blame it on spice and inbreeding.
Right, but I can't. It would have to be more than just that. It would have to have been some sort of like the equivalent of a government-funded operation where nobody had the ability to say no. Because the first mom that gave birth to something that even remotely looked like that would probably take her own life and her child's life with her in some sort of ball of fire, because that was just nasty. That was just it was just an awful looking thing to then allow it to somehow reproduce. Or is that a process that you take a normal person and then you just almost drown them in liquid spice, and a couple of months later that's what slithers out of the swimming pool of spice? I just don't get that part, how that goes from human to that without some sort of intervention.
That was fucked. That was entirely fucked. I don't know. I'm trying to find positives. I don't have anything really great to say about the movie, but I don't really have anything negative to say about the movie. I mean, I haven't already said. I think the timing, the pacing of the movie was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what was, all the different things that were cut out as opposed to just wrong from the book to the movie. Because a lot of, I know the sound projecting weapon was tweaked or butchered or what have you. That's fine.
That's
sometimes
fine. You're accepting a change?
Sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
but in comparison to the things they cut out, or as opposed to drastically changed, I've just it's been like I said, almost 40 years since I read the book the first and only time. So it's hard for me to actually put a finger on all the different things that were changed. But like I said before, as a standalone movie, if that was your introduction to Dune, as opposed to the other way around, you read the book then saw the movie, I think obviously you'd have a lot of issues. But if you saw the movie first, I still think it's a great way to possibly get someone to want to say read the book or to play the game, because there's several games. There's the original SPI or Avalon Hill version of the game. Then there's been a card game, which I had, the collectible card game, and then several role-playing games, I think.
How would you role play that? We normally do an RPG version of these conversations. What we did last week, where
again, you'd have to pick an era of Dune, because there's many.
I don't think I know enough about Dune to even try to role play it out.
And just like the Alien universe, Alien or Aliens, you pick, you make your characters, but you do stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the storyline of Dune, because there's so much that could be going on, whether it be combat or intrigue or what have you, in a good adventure campaign, role-playing wise. I don't see how it would be difficult, and I could see how it may be even more interesting as a story after you played the game and then tell your friends, yeah, I was in a Dune campaign and we did this and this and this and this and this, and that's what happened. I don't think it would be hard. You just have to really be an absolute, huge fan of all things Dune to want to run or play a Dune RPG. I saw more fun in playing the board game or the card game, strategically and tactically and things like that. There'd be a lot of things for me that would have been interesting and were interesting in playing those kinds of games. But if I'm going to play a science fiction role-playing game, I'm just going to go Traveler and make up my own, get ready, everybody, story.
No, not story.
Because, science fiction, especially, even if you wanted to play Star Frontiers or some other, less well-made role-playing science fiction game, there's so much that can be done that would be better than most of the crap that's come out of Hollywood, including Alien and including Dune and a whole bunch of other movies. I find that role-playing games are always more enjoyable than almost any movies I can point to. I'd rather play a 2-hour game of any science fiction game than to watch almost any science fiction movie. There are some exceptions, that being like Firefly or Babylon 5, old Star Trek. There are things that I can, sit down and enjoy for a couple hours at a time, and I don't feel, worse for having done that than actually playing a role-playing game. Because like I said, everybody we know out here, in our community, another bad word, I guess, I think have more talent and imagination than most of the movie makers out there and TV show makers out there, with a few exceptions. There are some classics out there, and that will be hard to surpass in any way. But for me, it's just more fun. That's why I don't watch a lot of TV or movies or anything like that, because I know in my worst drunken stupor, hung over and having not slept in a couple of days, I could crap out something better than most of the movies I've ever seen.
So by that definition, what you just said, because I haven't really slept the last couple of days, I can go get in a drunken stupor. That's not going to be hard. I can do that one. It won't take much. I can make something that's better than what's been pumped out the last few years. Going by your theory.
Same with this guy, and I won't let him drink for another couple of years.
I will drink his share. As of right now, I'll drink your share. I will take one for the team there for you, Jack.
Yeah. I'd rather be in a game from anybody in the chat than I would prefer to watch most of what's come out. There are very few things that have come out in the last 10 years minimum that I'd really enjoy more.
Yeah.
Not much.
I keep my fingers crossed, and I hope for something good to come along that's not, a part 2 or 3 of something else or a remake. But how hard? What was the last science fiction movie that was absolutely epic that wasn't a remake or a part 2 or a part 3?
Give me a second. Actually, I just saw one on TV not that long ago, and it had a very big H.P. Lovecraft feel to it. It's an older movie, though.
I was talking sci-fi.
No, so am I.
Oh, okay.
Of Event Horizon. Event Horizon was a really good sci-fi movie. Didn't feel like it was a copy of or a sequel to any other movie, and it had a huge H.P. Lovecraft feel to it. Do you know that movie?
Which movie?
Event Horizon.
Oh yeah. That's like 20 years old now, isn't it?
You said last time. You didn't say how old.
I thought I said the last time. But yeah, that goes back a ways. That was a very, very interesting movie. I think it actually should have been a little bit longer.
No. Last sci-fi movie that I saw that didn't feel like it was a remake for something was a Matt Damon movie called Mars, where his character, and they've actually proven this, proven it through science, could actually work and survive on Mars for a limited amount of time. I thought that was really. I mean, it kind of had a what was that movie? A book, not book, movie. Book. Robinson Crusoe feel to it. That's probably
Robinson Crusoe.
It kind of had that.
It did. But believe it or not, I don't really consider that movie that much of science fiction.
Is it not?
I know it is.
It is.
But when I think of science fiction,
is it more of a science nonfiction? Because it's something that could happen.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. It's more, there was nothing, fantastical about it. It was more speculative than anything else. This all could happen. Exactly, if we found out that movie was actually, taken from someone who could travel into the future, and just brought that story back and told it, and they made a movie of it, that wouldn't surprise me. It wasn't.
Aside from the time travel part,
didn't see Looper. Fifth Element was good, but that's also going back like 20 years.
Loopers was a Bruce Willis movie. It wasn't that bad. It's a sci-fi. It's definitely sci-fi. It's a sci-fi action. But when I think of sci-fi, my personal favorite. Let me finish this really quick, and I'll shut up. Is I want a sci-fi like space sci-fi, not time traveling sci-fi. I want to be space, the final frontier. Then time travel.
Okay, real quick, I just want to address something I just saw on the chat. Kai, I absolutely love all things Captain Harlock, and I did not know there was such a movie. I'm going to have to go find it because I had even the awful animated cartoon with that absolutely awful music. I absolutely loved it. I have all the comic books as far as I know. A huge fan of Harlock. So thank you for alerting me to the fact that such a thing exists. I'm literally taking notes.
12 Monkeys.
I knew there was a reason why I liked you, man.
I hate time traveling movies. Maybe that's what it is. I hate time traveling movies.
There's only a handful of movies about time travel that I actually find good, and one of them was made by a kid who doesn't know English, and
was Congo a sci-fi movie?
That movie was it's Cargo. I don't know the movie.
Oh, I thought you meant Congo as in the old, the movie that had the white apes in it.
Yeah, I saw that. I've never heard of Cargo, unless it's something I'm thinking of that I saw a while back, but I don't think so. Time travel movies for me, I think, are better relegated to sci-fi comedies than anything else. It always
Time Machine.
It always seems it always seems to work. Even Doctor Who, I always thought of as kind of a comedy,
It's
or at least a
technically a
little bit more
horror.
tongue in cheek. It just for me that's the case.
I like the Marvel's in-game what they did the time traveling because it kind of made sense.
It's not about fear.
It's fine. I've come to the realization that your dad's opinion on movies is fair, and everybody gets their own opinion, even if they're slightly wrong. I'm not going to say who's wrong in this conversation, but I like a good comic book movie. They didn't swap Captain America. Captain America was
ginger swap. Ginger swap.
Ginger swap. Ginger swap. Captain America, Iron Man, Hawk, or anybody else. Everybody was playing their proper gingers. Racial stuff, whatever. Samuel L. Jackson made a great Nick Fury because that was Nick Fury of the universe that was based on the Ultimate Marvels, not the basic Marvels. So all that being,
I think this one. I just realized. Didn't you tell me that if somebody makes a movie or a show or anything or writes a comic book about an alternate universe, that's just inherently bad?
Well, without telling you that it's
they should have.
It's like if you're gonna make a copy of something that was already in existence, so that you can change all these facts, you should have a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning.
Before the movie, they said this is an alternate timeline from the mainstream comics.
Absolutely. And if they did that, think of all the discussions they would squash, all the criticisms they could squash, all of the opinions that would be like, oh, okay, this is just new then. Okay, fine.
The most recent argument I got into here lately was with my brother. He's like, I can't believe that they're making Hulk a woman. I'm like, you're talking about She-Hulk. He's like, yeah, Hulk has always been a man. I'm like, that's his cousin.
Yeah.
It's not the same person. Well, they shouldn't do it. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay.
That's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah, I think I've got the #1 She-Hulk somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the other one. Thor.
Yeah, that would solve all the problems, though. Think about it. If they would have just said, or just come out with, not even in the movie, but somewhere, a press release or something saying all of our movies are actually taking place in a different universe, but we're going to steal all the old cool stuff and swap it out any way we want, so you guys can go get bent, but that's what we're doing, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Let's be honest about your freaking decisions. That's all we're asking people. But yeah, no. The MCU, but that's not. Even the Thor is based off of a comic book. Where in the power of Thor's by the charm that Odin put on the Thor hammer gives anybody who was worthy to wield it the power of Thor. It says it on the hammer.
Yeah.
So if she is worthy to, because it wasn't a strength thing. It was you had to have the right type of character to wield the hammer. They've been saying that from the get-go when it comes to Thor comic books.
Yeah.
So if somebody picks up the hammer,
I have to agree with Shawner.
That's fine, but
I mean, it's the thing.
Yeah. My knowledge of Thor goes back to a long time ago, and then abruptly stops. So I have no idea what they're trying to pull off.
It's the same discussion that happened with the whole Miles Morales thing, where they're turning Spider-Man, they're turning Peter Parker black, even though he's one of the whitest superheroes to ever exist. Which, if that was the case, then yeah, but he's a different character. They're not the same guy.
Yeah.
They're two completely different people. They're two different guys who gain the same or almost the same powers. It's the same thing with the She-Hulk thing. Two completely different people.
Right. That's fine. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you think about it, some of these characters have been around since the 40s, 50s, 60s, etc.
Yeah.
And, there's only so much you can squeeze into, For Iron Man, for example, the one of the few Marvel movies that I liked, the original Marvel.
One of the few.
Yeah, the first Iron Man. It technically happened in the Vietnam era. They had to change that, and they did it with Kuwait or whatever. Okay, that's fine. That's
Kuwait.
Cool. Wherever it was.
I'm surprised you even know what that place is.
Gonna stab my own.
Wow. Shots fired, old man. Shots fired.
You think this is nothing? I deal with this. We're on vacation. Think about it. 24/7 from this little monkey.
He once said that Madagascar was next to South America. I said this in a video. Until very, very recently, he had never heard of Bosnia.
That's not true.
Yeah. What do you mean that's not true?
No, I've definitely heard of Bosnia.
Okay, then
wasn't that a band in the 80s? Anyways, they had to squeeze so much into the Iron Man movie from the beginning to when the first movie came out. That was a lot of comic book issues. I mean, hundreds, if not 500 issues. You're going to have that problem when you try to adapt a comic book to a movie, unless you're going to go, okay, we're only going to do what exactly happened in the first 10 issues in this movie, and it's going to be panel for panel. No one will ever do that. That's what I want to see when I see a comic book movie. Well, I want to see everything word for word, panel for panel, shot for shot. But, wait a minute, I can just go back and read my own actual versions of those comics. So it's not a big deal.
What's the point of making a movie?
Because that's what that's what they're implying, in my opinion. That's the impression I get. That they want you to.
When they make the movie Iron Man, they're not making the comic book 1 through 50 and turning that into a movie. They're taking the character of Iron Man and making a story and a movie about that character.
But it becomes a completely new character in a new universe, a new timeline, and all that stuff. And they could easily just say that, hey, this is based on, but they don't. They say, this is now the gospel.
Well, I think you're one of maybe 50 people who would assume when they see the movie Iron Man, they think, so this...
Unfortunately, there's a greater number. There's a greater number than just 50. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. With that being said...
Sorry, Shaughter just killing me in the chat section here. He's on a roll today.
The hammer was graffitied.
I think what's going on is Shaughter wants us to all come over to his show as soon as this is over. Which
is he getting lonely?
Invitation accepted. Let me just go take a leak break, smoke a cigarette. I'll hang out with you for the rest of the afternoon. We won't even do our Sunday video. No,
anyways, we got about 13 minutes left of this one. I think we've basically nailed everything we possibly could nail down on Dunes. I think David Lynch is an interesting director. He should have done a better job in the movie. For that movie, I know that a lot of things of that era was not at the same technology it is now. But that's just my opinion. Although I have to say that one of my favorite parts is when the king and the duke and his wife and young Paul were flying into the spaceship that looked like a picture frame. I thought that was absolutely interesting. Let's fly into the picture frame. And now they're back after Shadow did something silly. What does Shadow do that was silly?
I had to reprimand my son for giving me shit on camera. No. Our tablet's on this little stupid stand that if you look at it wrong, it will tip over.
And then you hit the leave button while trying to put it back.
Yeah. Yeah, Dune.
Okay.
We were talking about Dune, right?
You.
What is it, Dune?
Hold on. Thank you, CBK. Marvel does tell you, though, they said it's Earth 1999 universe where the comics is 616.
I was not aware of that.
I've never seen that.
I've probably I've definitely heard it. I just forgot. I didn't know about the 616.
Thank you for that. Since we got like 10 minutes left, about 10 minutes left. Next week, what do you guys want to talk about? I jokingly kind of talked about, have you guys been able to finish Fool's Moon? as of yet, or is that still an issue? Do you guys want to talk about something else?
Well, here's the thing. I just ordered today the first 7 Dresden novels in paperback.
Good.
Whether or not they will arrive in time for us to read.
Then we'll put that on the back burner. We'll put that on the back burner. You want to do another movie review? We can do another movie review.
The little guy has a movie. He ready. Pull it out. Pull it out.
The Scientist.
You can't. There is no cure for the dead.
You like zombie movies?
Yeah. I remember I was looking for paper.
Agreed, Sean. They should have made the movie longer.
Yeah.
And not cut so much out.
I was looking with my mom for paper for a piñata, and I saw this movie. I just saw The Scientist, and I expected it to be some. I didn't know what I expected.
You can get it at your local dollar store, brand new.
I am trying to get every single copy of this movie to ever exist, because I know that there probably isn't that many. So I want as many as I can get. And I don't know why. But when I went to the dollar store and I realized, and I saw this bunch of movies and I realized I can find it here, I went through every single movie that was there for 10 minutes and I couldn't find it. And then he walks up and looks for maybe 20 seconds, picks it up. Is this the movie you're talking about? And I remembered later that two different dollars.
I will have to find to watch it. It's on two. Okay, I can watch it through there. And Mark,
mind you, we expect this movie to suck.
Oh no, it does. It's awful.
Okay, so we're doing awful movies now.
You sure this is the one?
Awful movies now?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do it with that.
Okay, all right.
We don't have to do it, but
because I can think of some awful movies. After the fact, we can move on to awful movies. That sounds like just as much fun.
That sounds like I need a beer.
Probably.
Mark, yeah, we're getting to Grave Peril, but they need to finish the second half of Fool's Moon before we continue. And as soon as we are done with that and are able to read Grave Peril, we'll definitely do a video on that one. I know Jade wants to join us. I'm pretty sure I can get Kai to join us, and when we go into the Dresden talks.
This way we can, in the next installment, we can finish up Full Moon and do as much of Grave Peril as we can, fit into one video.
Mm-hmm.
If it looks like it's going to take a while for it to get here because it's a book, it's a pile of books that I ordered.
Yeah,
we'll just, as soon as we finish with Full Moon, we'll go right into an audiobook of Grave Peril because Baron sent us a link to a place we can listen to it. So we can, do that. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. We'll plan it for that. But before we let you guys go, I'm going to embarrass him as a bit of payback for messing with his old man. The little guy here is going to turn 14 by the next time we see you guys.
Wait,
and
no?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
It's not how time works.
Oh, you're right. It's 2 weeks away. Okay, well, his birthday's coming up in 2 weeks, so just, get ready to give him a razzing because, he'll have grown like 2 inches between now and then or something.
Probably not.
Kai, you're not supposed to do anything really quick. It's the Dresden Files, and I know you enjoy the books as much as I do, so I figured if we, invite you to come join us. Mark, you just started reading Grave Peril. It is a great novel. It has really good characters in it. I hope you enjoy the novel. I really do. We'll do The Scientist next week.
Damn, he's young.
And if I can find a copy of it to watch, like I said, I don't have a working DVD or a dollar store anymore. Yeah, I do. Anyways, if not, we'll figure something out. But we'll probably be The Scientist. I'll find a way to make it work.
It's your birthday this weekend.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I forget that.
Then we'll do that. Well, I have had a fun talking about Dunes. I'm glad that I watched the original Dune.
Yeah, if you haven't, go give it another watch, guys. It's worth it, at least for the battle at the end with Paul Atreides and Sting. Yeah, for that alone, it's worth it. I think it was, that was my favorite part of the movie.
I almost want to make you guys go watch Princess Bride and review Princess Bride, but I don't think I would do that.
That's one of my favorite all-time movies. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely love that movie.
What was that, Jack?
I don't remember it very much. I've seen it, but I don't remember.
It's absolutely one of.
Tell you what. Since it is your dad's favorite movie, and I'm not making a promise on scientists.
It's not my favorite. It's one of.
One of your dad's favorites. I'm not making promises on scientists just because I was just trying to find a way to view. If I'm not able to watch it, I'll let you guys know by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll do Princess Bride. I will find a way to see that movie, Jack. If we have to throw that one to the back burner, I'll get to it. I promise I will get to it. It's just I don't want to say we're going to do something and not able to do it.
Yeah.
So the backup plan, if you two agree with it, will be the Princess Bride.
Yeah. Sure. Not a problem.
Totally.
All right.
We'll probably watch both, but
yeah, that's fair. It's streaming free if you have Amazon. Okay, well if it's on Amazon, I should be okay. All right, okay, I got Prime. Then we'll do The Scientist. The Scientist next week.
I'm so worried.
Get your popcorn and barf bags handy, folks.
No, not that one.
Yeah, the Princess Bride is such a good movie. It really is. I can't think of a single bad thing to say about it other than I really can't. And I actually read the book too, which is pretty damn close to.
Yeah, Meathead did a good job when he was directing it. Sorry if you don't know the reference, then you're not old enough. With that being said, 4 minutes left. We're gonna play Jack's favorite game, Words of Wisdom.
I don't have any today.
Wisdom or words of wisdom?
Neither.
He gets that from his mom, folks.
Words of wisdom and I got nothing is almost, its own words of wisdom. All right. Well, and Shadow, do you have any words of wisdom?
Same as it ever was. Play the games you love with the people you love, and have a great summer, everybody.
My words of wisdom are quite easy. Don't bet on slow horses and don't date fast women. With that being said, everybody, you have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to those out there that are fathers. If you are a son and your father is still with us, make sure you give him a call. If you're a father and you have children that no longer live with you, harass your child. It is your day to harass them. Tell them that you love them and all that good stuff. I will, as always, roll your dice in the dark and do your character sheets with the red crayon. You all have a good weekend. We'll see you throughout the week.
Bye, everybody.
God bless.